not really a rant, but my channel, I don't know which one I'm gonna upload this on, but everything, oh my god, please forgive me. It's been chaotic recently. Like, life is just, wow. Yeah, everyone can tell. Let's just try. Okay, so everything that I'm doing on my Mahika XO channel, I'm not gonna lie, it scares the shit out of me. It terrifies me because it is unconventional. You know, it's out there. I talk about psychological things, I talk about philosophical things, I talk about spiritual things that people don't fucking typically talk about, right? And there is naturally that concern of, what does this mean for employment? If I want to go into this direction in the future, how does this reflect on my family? You don't understand. I am terrified. I'm shitting myself. But at the same time, I can't not do it. I cannot leave this earth having not put this out there. That is how deeply I believe in it. Because it's one of those things where if you had nothing else to offer, and no one was paying you jack shit, what would you do in this life? And this is what I would do. And so, yeah, there's a huge, like, this logical concern of, like, how do I still maintain a brand that's, like, marketable or whatever, or, like, I don't know, like, be professional and taken seriously. Like, there are logistical concerns that come up, and I don't know the answers. I don't know how to explain it. I just don't. But I think, okay, let's say I don't do this stuff because it's unconventional, because it's maybe even taboo. What am I doing? And I try to think of a career. God, I'm PMSing, so I'm a little emotional, but, like, I try to think of a career without that, and it feels so empty. I try to think of myself without that, and I feel my life feels purposeless. It really does. And so this might be unconventional. It might be, you know, I might not have all the answers and whatnot, right? But it gives me a sense of purpose, and I think that it can help other people. Sorry, my lashes are being weird. It can help other people with their sense of purpose. Like, that is how much I believe in it. And, you know, this happens where I can't practically explain things to people, and it frustrates them, whether it's been my parents, my teachers, like, tutors, etc. Even, like, I mean, I would say the nicest people that I've spoken to about it would be either my friends or, like, counselors and stuff. My sister's really cool too, but she does also, like, get, like, concerned and stuff about, like, what is going on, like, the practical aspect. She's more practical thinking too. And this is no shade. Like, this is no shade to any of the parties that don't get it. Like, it was Steve Harvey that said something about, there's a reason that only you can see it. It's your dream. Like, God gave you that dream. He didn't give it to the people around you. He gave it to you. That's why only you can see it. So you can try and explain it, but the people around you, it's not their dream, so they're not gonna get it. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Like, live my life trying to make everybody feel really, really comfortable, and, like, I have the answers to everything because it makes them feel at ease? I'm sorry, but I don't need to know the answers to everything. And I think that if you do, I think it's reflective of how you deal with your own life. I get it, and I understand from, like, a teacher or parental perspective how you are conditioned at a certain level to feel that having a solid answer is a sign of security. But honestly, I don't think having a solid answer is a sign of security always. I think that actually sometimes it can be the extreme opposite. security or confidence, I believe, is not looking at a situation and being like, I know exactly what the answer is. It can be, but I think security/confidence is more so, I don't really know, but I trust that I will be able to figure it out, and that universe has my back, God has my back, that circumstances will play out, and whatever will happen, it will happen for the best. And this is where people might be like, okay, so you follow your heart. No, I don't follow my heart. My heart's a little fucking crazy, personally. But nor do I wish to follow my mind. It's more about following my gut, my intuition. And I've hit so many lows this year that whether or not they were created by me or external circumstances, regardless, they have been lows. I have witnessed some of the most extreme lows. I'm still in a low. Like, I wake up every day. I don't need to get into it much, but I wake up every day and I fucking fight for my life. Like a psychological fight. Every fucking day. And it's really highlighted to me what's most important, what I want. And this bleeds into purpose, which is, I think that purpose, I mean, I still have a lot more to read about it, but I've been researching for years now, since I was like 17. I really think purpose is knowing yourself. And I once studied this sort of personality thing where it's like, are our personalities fixed or are they changing? I think both. I think we all have a certain level of fixed personality, our natural traits, our natural tendencies, natural strengths and weaknesses, and then we have like what we have. It's like the nature versus nurture. We are nature and nurture, and the nurture part is where we come in. It's where we, are conditioned by the world around us. It's what we choose to feed ourselves, like physically, energetically, spiritually, stuff like that. And so purpose, I think, is an alignment of your nature plus your nurture. What are your natural tendencies? What are you naturally drawn to? What problems, what questions are you naturally trying to solve in life? What makes you feel alive? This is just purpose. I'm not necessarily talking career. I'll make a quick note on this and then I'll get back to what I was talking about, because I don't think I want to make a separate video on that. I think when it comes to career, I mean, it can be an expression of purpose. I think you need to ask yourself, what is it that I would be willing to be paid for? Because my making these videos on that channel, sure, I could monetize and I could start life coaching, but I don't know if maybe I'd be into it after developing myself a bit more. I'd be into one-on-one life coaching, but I don't think I'd ever want to sell a product, because I believe mental health, like good mental health, should be accessible to everybody. And personally, I would not be comfortable with myself monetizing that, right? Even though it is my purpose. I'm culling and I'm realizing, okay, I'm not comfortable monetizing something like that, even though it is my purpose. What is it that I can do that I still give a shit about and I'm happy to charge for it? So that's just career. But when it comes to purpose, I think it's important to ask yourself, what are your natural strengths? What are your natural weaknesses? What do you naturally give a shit about? When you ignore the world and it wants of you, what are you naturally drawn to? And then you bring in nurture. What perhaps were you skilled at as a young child, or even recently? Like, what have you developed your skills in? What problems did you encounter as a young child that caused you the greatest suffering, created the greatest void in you? Because then you can build a career based off of filling that void. People do it all the time. Stereotypical example, fat kid that was bullied in school goes on to become a super famous PT, fitness model, whatever. Like, they do that stuff, right? So I've said this before, your pain points are where your potential lies. You can utilize that. I think if you can find something that integrates the nature and nurture, the natural tendencies, plus what you have picked up in your life, then you're golden. Anyway, that was just kind of like offhand or like side subject, but I can't explain it. I can't explain what this means for my future employability. it could be reckless, yeah. It could absolutely be reckless. But the way that I also look at it is, okay, yes, it's vulnerable. Yes, it's slightly out there. Yeah, my editing isn't great, so I'm not necessarily portraying myself in like a super fancy way or whatever. But then I'm like, okay, there are other people that film in shittier lighting than me. There are other people that swear online and they are ridiculously successful. And there are other people that have had blocks like me, if not worse, and they have still made it. So how much of this is me letting my limiting beliefs get to me? Fear will be loud. Fear will always be loud. Anxiety, insecurity will always be loud. You will always be like feeling that. Like it'll be like screaming on the inside, you know? Like in your mind. It'll be very busy. So many endless questions that you just cannot ever answer. Your intuition will be like soft. Not even soft. Like, I think I might have said this before, like an ocean, fully itself and unapologetic. Sometimes we fear the ocean, but at the same time we love it. Do you feel me? And the ocean is like sure of itself. I sound nuts. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Like, the ocean isn't out here trying to behave itself and like not take up space at times. The ocean is just doing its thing. It's got like different creatures and whatnot inside. Like, it is, what is the word I'm looking for? I can't believe this is such a shitty example. This is the what? Does anyone know what I mean? Intuition's quiet and it's steady and it's sure of itself and it doesn't need anybody's approval. It's completely unapologetic in its existence. For me personally right now, when it comes to this, it's hard for me to listen to it because there is so much fear surrounding the subject. I've been always taught to pursue security, understandably, especially being a person of color, a woman of color, and putting myself online and talking about the things that I do would be the perfect opportunity for me to perhaps ruin that idea of stability. But it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you could do everything right. You could pursue stability. And shit could still go wrong. Even if you don't end up getting, like, fired or the company doesn't end up going down the toilet or whatever, like, your mental health could be in the drain because you've gone and ignored the thing that speaks the most to you. I spent so much time sacrificing myself. My voice. What I knew I could do, what I have to offer. Denying my potential because I was afraid of it. And I don't need things to be perfect. Sure, it would be wonderful if things would be perfect, right? I mean, like, that's how they look when you hear someone's life story. You hear them talk about their lives on a podcast, or you read a book about them, or you go on their Wikipedia page and you scroll through and it's like this happened and this happened and this happened. You're like, oh, I see why they that da da da, and then wow, what a wonderful chain of events and da 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 da. And but I guess perfection is boring. And we didn't come here to be perfect. Maybe it's reckless, yeah. But at the same time, it's one of those things that if I got to the end of my life and I hadn't shared these videos, things that I believe can actually help people, I'd feel a lot of regret. I think I've spent a long enough time not being able to live with myself, not liking myself, resenting myself, that I think I owe it to myself to change that. It doesn't need to be perfection, it just needs to be progress. And me getting these videos out is me being one step closer to being more true to myself. And I think it's about time I did that. It's scary. Going against everything you think is right. But also have to try really, really, really hard to remember that the majority of people that are advising you, they're just human too. They're flawed too. They've never questioned their beliefs, you know? I mean, even if they did, it wouldn't make any difference because they believe what they believe because of the time and the circumstances that they were raised in, or that they live in, or lived in. What's right for them might not be right for you, vice versa. You have to believe in yourself more than anything, because really and truly, sometimes that's all you've got. If you sit around waiting for the world to believe in you, you'll never get to where you want to go. You have to believe in you. You have to believe in that vision that you see for yourself, that feeling that you get, and just trust it. Trust it like hell. And that's there's a saying in Hungarian. Basically, the translation is "Don't ask how." It's the thing of like, oh, we have to do X, Y, Z, and you're like, oh, but how? And the response is, "Don't ask how." It's kind of a sort of, when there's a will, there's a way. It'll happen type of vibe, you know? You don't need to know exactly how your life is going to pan out. But in knowing yourself and in knowing what is important to you and testing yourself by putting yourself in different environments and seeing how you behave, witnessing and observing yourself within those environments. What are your natural strengths that come out to play, your natural weaknesses? What is it that you wish to develop within yourself? Like, all of that, you can then come further into alignment with your purpose. Purpose, I always used to think it's this one career. Like, you have to choose this one degree and do this one career, and that's it. That's who you are, and that's stuck to you. And no. I've learned that it's more to do with knowing oneself, what's important to you, and expressing that in whatever you do. See, for me, I value connection. I value providing quality, like real, genuine quality. And I've seen that in myself in the way that I used to show up to my part-time jobs. And so it's shown me, like, okay, this is something that I can use when I move forward. It doesn't mean I need to be doing the same job for the next 30 years because the climate has changed. If I want to do that, I can, but it's not something personally that I'm looking to do. I'm looking for variation. I'm looking for change. Whatever I do in my life, I'm not opposed to doing a shitty job where I know that it's a stepping stone to something greater for myself. I'm not opposed to delaying gratification like that. I've been doing it. I'm in a thing right now, and it doesn't matter. But I'm totally okay with that, because if I know that it's going to lead me to something that is true to my heart, or like my intuition, who I am, it's cool. I'm chill with it. But I don't want to be wasting my life in situations that I know are not true to who I am. It's like a fish climbing a tree type of thing. Like, you got to put yourself in environments where you know you're going to, I was going to say thrive, but at the same time I think that could imply that you never put yourself out of your comfort zone, or that you never challenge yourself. I think it's absolutely necessary to be in environments that you're not familiar with. But if you can find a thread in there, something that resonates with you, where you can feel a sense of passion, you don't feel empty when you're there. You might feel bored at times. You might feel this is disgusting, I'm pulling my hair out. But if you feel a thread of passion, then I think that's a sign that you're in the right spot. Anyway, I've really kind of gone everywhere, and I kind of want to just come here, have a little ramble schmamble, and you know, maybe I'll post this on this advice channel. Look at me, what the gosh. And you know what, you guys can let me know. Like, I'll have some feedback. Have my videos helped you? I don't mind you being honest. I mean, it would suck, obviously, to hear that it's not helpful, but at the same time, I'd rather hear the feedback, and maybe constructive. That would be great. And I know, obviously, my format isn't, like, super clear, and sometimes I struggle to get the feeling, because I feel things. I don't think in, like, words. I feel them, and then I have to, like, translate them into words that make sense. So I'm sorry if I'm a bit jumbly sounding sometimes, but I'm trying my best. Let me know if you have any similar epiphanies, similar thoughts, or even different thoughts, etc. What you feel about purpose and things like that. And believing in yourself and doing so when no one else sees your vision the way that you do. What happened to doing things and not knowing where they're going to lead, you know? I think that's part of the joy and excitement of life. Never mind. Right? See you in the next video, and take care of yourselves.